We're going to be working on the flat hook. This is part number 5, or problem number 5 at the end of chapter 2 on page 2-33. In this case, we only have to do the front image. The drawing is shown here. The first thing to note is that this drawing is in millimeters. So we're going to come to our AutoCAD, and here I've actually kept the same setup from drawing 2-3. If you recall, 2-3 was also in millimeters. So what I did is I took my 2-3 drawing and I saved it as 2-5 and then simply deleted the drawing. So what does that give me? That gives me a blank drawing that has the correct center layer and objects layer, and it's also set up in millimeters. So it becomes a slightly easier way to get started. If you don't recall how to set up your layers or your make sure that you're set up for millimeters, then you can go back to the video for drawing 2-3, and it is shown there. All right, so let's get started. Let's take a look at the drawing. And we look down here and we see that we have two circles, one with a radius 62.5, one with a radius of 130. So we'll go ahead and put those in. So we'll choose circle radius 62.5, circle radius 130. Up here we have another two circles. They're located 180 millimeters from the center of the lower circles. And they have a diameter, the inner one has a diameter of 45, and the outer one has a radius of 50. So let's go ahead and put those in. So what we can do is get a tracking line going up from the center of this circle. We type 180, which will move the start of the circle up here. We then want to type in the radius of 50. The second one is circle diameter. We'll just grab that from up here. Circle diameter. Click on the center. Type 45. Okay, so this is the very, of course, easiest part of the drawing. And as we look at the rest of the drawing, it looks kind of difficult, but it really isn't. Over here we see we have a tan radius circle. So tan radius, the radius of 50. So we can go ahead and put that in. So tan radius, tangent, tangent, and then the radius is 50. On this side, we have a tangent line, and all these T's here are telling us that these are tangent points. We have a tangent line that goes from the larger circle on the top to the smaller circle on the bottom. So if you recall, to make a tangent line, we choose line, snap to tangent, we click on the first circle, and then we click on snap to tangent again, and then click on the second circle, and then it'll put the tangent line in. Now we also have a tangent line on this side, and the separation between this tangent line is 125 millimeters. Well, what does that mean? That because it's 125 millimeters, that means it's twice the radius or the full diameter of this circle. So that means that this portion of the circle is actually exactly 180 degrees. And if we draw a line through the center of the circle to the intersection on the other side, that'll give us the starting point of this tangent line. So let's go ahead and do that. Here we're going to blow this up a little bit. We're going to choose line. We find the intersection here. Now here we want to stop on the center and click. That way we'll get an actual line that's at the exact angle. Because normally we're going to get lines that are at only the lines that we have set up, or the angles that we have set up in the snap mode. Now in this case, if the snap mode is off, you need to have it turned on. And if you notice, what happens is when I turn the snap mode on, and I think I need to start this over again. I have to have the snap mode on before I start. I draw the line. I start from here at the intersection. I click on the center. Yeah, so with the snap mode on, before I start the line, after I click on the center, you can see that I have these snap lines that are at our set angle. So there's one at 315, there's one at 0 degrees, should be 360, 45 degrees from that. But there's also this line that essentially gives me a tracking line off that other line at 321 degrees. I can follow that line down to this intersection, and then I can click my mouse button to end the line. Now from here, the easiest thing to do is we can do a copy of this line. What we can do is select the line, choose copy selection, and then for the base point we want to choose this intersection. The reason we choose this intersection because what we're going to do is we're going to take the copy and we're just going to move it down to this other intersection. Then we're going to hit our mouse button to end the copy, and that will place the line. So that will place a line that is exactly 125 millimeters away from the second line. And it is properly tangent here. These two lines in the center, we don't actually need. There are, by the way, other ways to do this. There's something called offset, but we haven't learned that yet. Although offset, I don't think will give you, it won't give you an offset, I think, in the correct angle. But perhaps it will. And I think you can also do a this perpendicular. Make a line that's perpendicular to another, snap to a perpendicular line. So we could do that as well. But this method works perfectly well. Anyway, once we're here, if we take another quick look at the drawing, we see that from this line we have another tangent, and a radius of 25 circle. Now, this might take a little thinking to figure that out, especially if you're doing a drawing like this without any aid. But the two tangent lines tell you there's a circle here. So you know there's a tan radius circle here. And this 125, along with this tangent line, tells you that you have a line that's actually parallel to this line, which is the line that we just put in. So now we can go ahead and make that tan radius circle. So we come back in to AutoCAD. we choose our tan radius circle, we click on this line, we click on this circle, and then we click on our radius, which is 25, and it puts the radius in. Okay, so what we need to do now is to start deleting things. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to select my trim, and I'll select this circle, I'll select this line, and I'll select that line, and I suppose I can select this line as well. So I'll select all the added items beyond the 4 original circles. I hit enter, and now I can start deleting. So I can delete this, I can delete this, I can delete this, I can delete this, I can delete that, and now you can see it's beginning to look like our flat hook. I come back, choose trim again, I'm going to select this circle, I'll select this circle. I think I need to delete that here, but that's okay. I'll come back and do that later. I'll select that circle. I hit return again. I can now delete that. I can delete that. Finally, choose my trim again. I select this piece here, and I select that circle there. I hit return, and now I can delete this inner portion, and that completes our flat hook. If we go ahead and take a look at our center lines, we pretty much simply just have 2 center lines, one up at the top and one up at the bottom. Choosing the outer circles for each. So we can go into our center layer, choose the center mark, select the outer portion of the circle there, choose the center mark again, select the outer portion of the circle here. Now in this case we see there are a lot of dashes and lines, so we could go ahead and change the center line type. So if we double click on layer properties, it opens our layer property menu. We can choose our center 2, choose our layer, double click on our layer, load up. In fact, in this case I'm going to choose center, hit OK, and then I'm actually going to load up center times 2 as well, and we'll take a look at what both of them do. So you'll get to see load and center times 2. Hit OK. Alright, so let's take a look at the standard center first. So we'll hit OK. And for now we can just move this out of the way. So the standard center looks like that. And then we can go ahead, if we want to change that to the center times 2, hit OK. You can see that the center times 2 looks like this. So in this case, either is probably appropriate or acceptable. I think I like perhaps just the standard center. My argument is it's always easier to have more marks than fewer. And just a reminder, the reason we have these marks for drawings that are not shown in color or printed on, let's say, a regular black and white laser printer, the line type can show the machinist that this is in fact the center line and not an object line related to the drawing. Okay, so anyway, this drawing is done. I'm going to go ahead and save it. So save as 2.5. You can see the previous original 2.3 is still saved as 2.5. We can go ahead and overwrite that. Choose yes, and we are done.